All right, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of my show. Hope you're all having a phenomenal, fantastic evening. I can barely hear myself. That's not good. But I hope you're all doing well. My name is James Melvin. I'm your host, and happy Thursday, everyone. I think it's a crisp 43 degrees outside right now. I saw the sun. It was trying to shine and really pull through and make it warm out and not cold and miserable with the snow everywhere. But I hate to break it to you, looking at the weekend forecast, it looks like there is going to be a lot more snow and a lot more rain. So if you are a fan of the snow and a fan of the rain, then don't worry. The weekend has it covered for you. But if you're like me, you're just going to use it as another excuse to stay inside and not talk to anyone. So you know what? We give and we take where we can. I'm excited for our show today. There is so much news. As I said before, this is just a crazy spiraling time of just so much going on all at once. So don't worry, stay tuned. We are going to get through as much of it as possible, and we are going to do our best to be here for you and to make sure that we can get through these hectic times all together. Starting up with our first segment of some New York news. Mayor Eric Adams recently had his charges against him dropped. Late last September, Eric Adams had the DOJ pursue corruption charges, totaled about $100,000 in bribes that they thought that Eric Adams did not properly disclose. He was set to go to trial in April of this year. However, Donald Trump and the Department of Justice recently dropped the charges. And they dropped them. They released a memo dropping charges against Eric Adams, and with dismissal without prejudice. So what that means is basically that Eric Adams is not going to be going to trial, and they've agreed to drop the charges. However, there is a chance that the charges can still be brought back at a later date. So these charges, Adams claimed, were brought to him for political reasons. He said that the Biden administration was targeting him because of his stance against immigration. I have the memo here that they released. Or at least I had it here. I don't really care. So yeah, we have that going on. So yeah, we have all that going on. In other breaking news, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has been vying for the seat in the Department of Health, just made it through his first round of confirmation hearing. And on top of that, he got the support he needed from Republican lawmakers. So he will be requesting to a full Senate confirmation hearing. It went through with almost full support from Republicans and it was full support against him from Democrats, with Mitch McConnell being the one dissenting vote from the Republican Party. to vote against RFK Jr.'s confirmation. This is a bit of a shock, but also not in recent kind of months. Mitch McConnell has been kind of deviating from the Republican Party and more so just deviating himself from Donald Trump. So, in that regard, it wasn't too surprising, but despite his opposition, the vote still stands and he was confirmed and is on his way. So, um, yes, we'll have to see later on how that deals. Okay. Let me get my notes back up. So anyway, back to our original story of Eric Adams and the attorney general dropping his charges. With the memo here, you are directed, as authorized by the attorney general, to dismiss pending charges in United States v. Adams. They didn't give too much of a reason as to why the charges needed to be dropped. Just that they needed to drop them. The Justice Department, quote, has reached this conclusion without assessing the strength of the evidence or legal theories in which the case is based, which are issues on which we defer to the U.S. Attorney's Office at the time. As I said during recent meetings, this directive in no way calls into question the integrity or the efforts of the line of prosecutors. However, the Justice Department has determined that dismissals subject to the above described is necessary for two independent reasons. Um, and then they list the reasons. It cannot be ignored that Mayor Eric Adams criticized the prior administration's immigration policies before the charges were filed. And second, the pending prosecution has restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources to the illegal immigration and violent crime that escalated under the policies of the prior administration. They then cite that basically the charges are going to stop Eric Adams from being able to fulfill Executive Order 14165, which basically is just talking about how that was the act signed on Trump's first day of office, declaring that the migrant crisis is a crisis. So there's not too much legal reason for these charges getting dropped. It is more so for political reasons. Both Trump and Adams have cited that the Biden administration used the DOJ for political reasons. Um, yeah, that they used the Department of Justice for political reasons. So now it's seeming that they're trying to undo that effect. Adams has stated time and time again that the charges are false and he has fought them and he was prepared to fight them. He said that he has never broken the law. He's never asked anyone to break the law. The charges had to do with an investigation into his personal finances. The Department of Justice alleged that he received over $100,000 in bribes from the Turkish government that were just not properly disclosed. This wasn't in terms of cash bribery. This was everything. It was hotels, conferences, plane tickets, things like that. So the case is getting dismissed without prejudice. which means that the charges are going to be dropped, but there's a chance for them to be brought back at a later date. So we will have to see what that means. However, in recent follow up, the Attorney General Pam Bondi announced a lawsuit against NY State and Governor Kathy Hochul for allegedly interfering with ICE and President Trump's executive order. This is showing the strength of the Trump administration and how they're using every branch of the government to push their agenda forward. Eric Adams isn't cited on there. And obviously, this sort of very political olive branch that the Trump administration seems to be reaching out to Eric Adams might be what they need to get into a place like New York, which is obviously a sanctuary state, and get ICE in and start moving forward with their agenda. So we'll have to see how that goes and plays out. In other news, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of CT has made waves as opponent of President Trump, calling DOGE and the Trump admin the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. So I'm a Connecticut boy, so I just had to give some time to highlight some of the efforts of Democratic Senator Chris Murphy and what's been going on there. Someone who's normally very not hardline on his views has um, stepped up as one of the more louder voices criticizing the Trump admin. He was just on Capitol Hill talking to, is it Linda McMahon? Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE, his wife has been picked. She's been tapped to assist in Trump's cabinet, more on his cabinet and everything to do with confirmations in that later. But was he's been so far a force, mostly just in words as of now. Obviously, like I said, in the recent appointment, he didn't vote in it. It was Senator Blumenthal, but convinced Senator Blumenthal to vote no, or whether he did or not. But this is interesting because in a shattered Democratic Party, there might be time for him to shine as a hardline defender of Democrats in a Republican dominated Washington. Democrats have been left scrambling after their losses in the White House, in Congress, and have been looking for an answer on how to win back voters. Murphy seems to think the time for action is now. So he recently was outside in a protest. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, as it's referred to, recently shut down USAID. And Murphy was out there speaking with other senators trying to protest the closing of the department. As of now, DOGE has made it its mission to locate what it deems as corrupt government spending. And that was one of the targets. So we'll have to see if this is what Democrats really need. We talked earlier in this show after the election race of what happened to the Democratic Party and how did they suffer such a historic defeat, not only from Trump at the top of the ticket, but all the way down. There was a historic shift to the right. So when we spoke on that last, it seemed that the going narrative, the mainstream narrative, was that Democrats don't have to worry so much about recreating a Democratic Party that fits the needs of the people. It's more so about trying to refocus themselves and push the initiative forward. To me, it seems like that seems to be the mindset that Senator Murphy is also holding on to. We haven't seen too much in terms of legislation or anything. It just seems to be more so if we tell people that Republicans are Republicans, then maybe they'll, I don't know, see something. But our eye will be on him just because I'm from Connecticut. So it'll be nice to sort of see how that goes and everything. In other news, though, Iona related news. That's it for all the local stuff that's been going on. It was a pretty botched segment because I lost my notes about halfway through it. But for more relevant news to all of you, Wednesday, February 19th at 12:30 p.m., the MSc department in the Murphy Center is going to be hosting a resume building workshop. There is a pre-registration. However, it's being broadcasted everywhere for on the Murphy Center. If you're a media student, there was an email sent out to you and a QR code. So we're going to be promoting that and the number of other events throughout the rest of the spring semester that are really beneficial for media students looking to get their professional foot forward. Also, I was at the SGMA meeting today. March 7th, save the date, in Burke Lounge at 5 p.m. is Women's Herstory Dinner. 2025 Her Story Dinner is presented by the Council of Academic and Special Interest Clubs, co-sponsored by the Center of Student Engagement and the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. They will have their keynote speaker, the Mayor of New Rochelle, Mayor Herbert. So there's also, with this flyer, there's a save the date, save your seat. There will be free food and drink. It's a networking opportunity and it's free. So you get to meet the mayor for free, which honestly seems pretty cool. I'm for it, but we'll have to see. In other words, Valentine's Day is coming up. Show some love to your favorite WIUR show. We have a packed lineup this semester, so definitely make sure to give them your best, especially on Friday. And also, what is the best first date activity? Are you a bowling, mini golf, classic dinner, or do you think Valentine's Day is a little overrated? We have a poll going up on the WIUR Instagram now. I'm posting it currently. So make sure to vote. WIUR Gales Radio on Instagram. Let us know what's the best first date activity or what's the worst first date activity. Let us know all that. So we'll have that. And yeah, moving on. For our last smaller story, the penny. Oh, the penny. Well, it looks like the Department of Government Efficiency is pinching its pennies. Elon Musk and Donald Trump have taken aim at the penny, calling for an end. They said enough is enough. The United States is losing around $85 million a year. Get this. Straight from the Department of Government Efficiency's X account, the penny costs over 3 cents to make, and the cost the U.S. taxpayer over $149 million. The mint produced 4.5 billion pennies, around 40% of the 11.4 billion coins produced. 3 cents. I actually think, looking at the numbers too, it's actually 3 and a bit cents. It's like 3.69 or it's like $3.69. But get this, nickels cost about 13.8 cents to make. A dime costs less than 6 cents, and a quarter costs about 15 cents to make. So the penny, people have been wanting to get rid of the penny forever. So count your coin jars, start separating out your pennies. The mint releases coins every year. I'd start buying up your pennies now because who knows? At the end of the day, you might be having valuable treasure right there. You know, maybe a penny now is going to be worth more than just a wish in a fountain. But yeah, that'll be it for me. A bit of a shorter one just because I'm a little pressed for time, in all honesty. I got to eat. It's cold. I don't want to be out for too long, but we'll keep an eye out on some of the ongoing stories, the Department of Government Efficiency and their latest targets, I guess you want to say, whoever they're putting in their crosshair. Recently, they also, next week, we'll talk about some of the more departments that they've taken aim at outside of USAID. But for all things news and for all things with me, I've been James Melvin. Thank you for listening to the show. And I hope you all have a great, great weekend and happy Valentine's Day.